Radio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. We are packed today. Tonight, big NBA games. This past 4 days was an essential time for a growing star and an amazing time for an established star. And it is great to have you in today. I want to start by saying this, that funerals are generally depressing. And funerals are morbid, and they are sad. And I don't love funerals. I've been to a few in my life. Today, though, we're having a funeral for something that needs to die. Not the Raptors. They're too cute to die. Baby dinosaurs should live forever. I am not anti-Raptors. No, we're going to put to death the month of January. Now, January's always been a very unique month. There's a lot of frauds in January. People join gyms in January, go for 4 or 5 times, and then never go again. You know what January is all about. New Year's resolutions. I'm going to be a new person this year. And by February, you're the same old jerk. And January is also the month that everybody in the NBA freaks out every year because, hey, everybody, LeBron's not playing well. This is the year LeBron doesn't make the playoffs. Okay, last 2 Januaries, LeBron shoots 24% on threes. His worst month. He averages 24 points a game in January last 2 years. His worst month. His plus-minus is minus 4.1 in January. His worst month. Rebounds, 7.8. His lowest total. Assists, 7.8. His lowest total. Yes, and the mostly young media, all sorts of bloggers. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. The world's changing. No, as I've said before, January, especially when you get to mid and late January, the All-Star game's coming up, usually in a sunny city. The trading deadline's coming up. For a lot of veteran star players, it's just hard to keep focus in January because you know the season's all about post-All-Star. Once again, LeBron James is looking at a series sweep, is looking toward heading to the Eastern Conference Finals. It should be noted, folks, cue the music. This past January, here were the 3 teams that were great in January. The Raptors, the Pacers, and the Miami Heat were great in January. LeBron James was not, again, great in January. This is the month I was born. But even I have to admit, there's a lot of frauds that come from January. Gym memberships, New Year's resolutions. LeBron's not going to make the playoffs. For once and for all, we put January to bed. Joy Taylor's joining me today. She is somewhat of a magician, ran from that set to this set in just a couple of minutes. It's great to have you in today.
Thanks for having me. When is your birthday?
January 6th.
Mine is the 17th.
Okay, that's my wife's birthday.
No way.
So we are Capricorns.
Yes.
We are optimistic.
We are impossible.
We are impossible to deal with, and January is the impossible month in the NBA. Just put it to death. Put it to death. It's over. It doesn't matter. Let me shift to this. There's a lot of things throughout the course of a career, a life, that you think are really bad days, bad weekends, bad months. But I would argue they are essential for the growth process. Getting fired is not a terrible thing. Getting dumped, boyfriend, girlfriend, is not a terrible thing. In the moment, it is hurtful. In the moment, it is daunting and crushing. But then as you age, you realize it is your very essence. It is the most important thing. It is what creates the mettle and the drive and the aspiration for all of us. The white picket fed kids, they don't end up with the great jobs. The kids that got dumped and fired and told no end up in the corner office. That's what America's really about. There's a lot more people that didn't go to Harvard that did. And they're running most of these companies. Ben Simmons, you're saying to yourself, oh, that was an embarrassing weekend. I mean, Colin, he had 1 point in Game 2. It was all over the internet. It was really funny. The legendary picture of Wilt Chamberlain holding up the card with 100 points. Everybody put it out there. Ben had 1. I got to admit, it won the internet. Game 3, he took a very, very ill-advised shot. But I want to take you back to LeBron James' 8th year. He was in the finals against Dallas. He was devoured. In Game 4, he had 8 points. In the fourth quarter of that finals against Dallas, where LeBron and Miami came in as heavy favorites, Joy Taylor was covering that series, LeBron shot 33% and averaged 3 points in the fourth. It was humiliating. People mocked LeBron. And since then, 3 titles, 2 MVPs, 6 finals. That never leaves you. That 1-point game and that meme on the internet will never leave Ben Simmons. And Aaron Rodgers dropping in the first round, it never leaves you. And getting fired and getting dumped. I speak from experience. I get up in the morning, think of it often, and it's why I work so hard. Let me double down on this Ben Simmons kid you don't think any's good. Let me remind you that Magic Johnson was once called tragic. That LeBron in his 8th year had an absolutely anemic and embarrassing and humiliating finals. Let me remind you that Russell Westbrook in this last series in his 10th year embarrassed himself and the organization in Oklahoma City. Ben Simmons is going to be the Eastern Conference's transformative player for the next 10 to 15 years. I'll double down on it. He has things you cannot teach. You can't teach 6'10" point guard ball handling skills like that. You can't teach his vision. You can't teach his strength. Some of it's just DNA. It's not weight room stuff. And for those who are saying he is bombing, let me remind you, he's 20 years old. Have you seen his numbers in these playoffs? I have. They're very exceptional. 16, 9, and 9, shooting 50% from the floor. Elite vision, elite defender. I don't know if he wins tonight. He may get swept by the Celtics. That's no great shame right now, the way they're playing and coaching. But let me remind you, this is the essence of what made Michael Jordan. It's why his Hall of Fame speech was petty. It's why LeBron James has never been better in year 15. The essence of success is failure. What builds the metal and the calluses is humiliation. We all had that moment on the school bus. I did. Kids make fun of your school picture. Whether it's pimples, big ears, no hair, goofy haircut, bad clothes, not stacking up. It is the essence of success. My favorite quote in business of all time comes from Larry Ellison, who runs a company called Oracle. He's one of the world's richest men. He was being interviewed by 60 Minutes. And at one point, I think it was Ed Bradley. Ed Bradley says, your stepfather said, Larry, you would never amount to anything. And Larry Ellison said, yes, I had all the qualifications to be a billionaire. It is not failure. It is the essence of success. Let me double down on Ben Simmons. He's going to be a monster and a headache and a nightmare for the next 15 years. Because most of what he does, like LeBron, you can't teach. You can't teach Dwayne Wade's toughness. You can't teach LeBron's commitment to his craft. You can't teach Magic Johnson and Ben Simmons' vision. You can't. You can go to AAU tournaments the rest of your life. The kid was awful. The kid went passive. Forget passive-aggressive. He just went passive. The kid scored 1 point, didn't hit a field goal, and America made fun of him. He was mocked on Twitter, and that only assures one thing. I'm doubling down. He is, for the next 10 years in the East, the player.